Hi everyone, welcome to Rick's 1/35th scale models. My name is Rick. As you can see, it arrived. The new Meng Leopard 2A8. Now my good friend Bjorn let me know that he had his en route, so I immediately ordered mine, and it took 9 days to get here from China. It's here, it arrived today. I hadn't planned on doing this video at this point. I had plans to do other videos, but this is here, and so we need to jump right into it. It is, from first looks, a great model. It is spectacular. It's got lots of detail, and we're going to talk about it. So let's jump in and take a look and see what it's all about.
Okay, so let's start with the instructions. So I like how Ming does their instructions. The booklet itself has quite a few pages. They've got your cover art, and then it dives into some information about the vehicle in multiple language. This is always real nice. Kind of a history of the Leopard tank, giving you some background, which is helpful and interesting. As I said, this is in multiple languages. Then it drops into the basic understanding of the manual and the building process they laid out. From there, it goes into your overview of different procedures you have to do within it. And then you start building the kit. Now, they talk about here you have two different versions. You've got the A and the B, the A being the prototype, the B being a German variant. I have not seen what Germany is getting when they get the 2A8, but I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be how it's going to be. There will probably be an antenna holder in the back. The 2A7A1 has two extra baskets on the rear of the turret. I'm assuming they may go with something similar. They will not have the RWS on the roof, and they will probably have the extra boxes and cover netting that they have on the other Leopards that they've upgraded, the 2A6MA3, the 2A7V, and then the 2A7, the 2A7A1 with the trophy system. So that, and then it for sure will have the Spectus 2 system, which is the camera in the front upgraded, and the camera on the rear. They're both larger and different. And I don't know if Germany's going to have the tools like they have here in the box, or I'm assuming they'll have them open like in every other Leopard. But having that in mind, which one you want to build, you go from there. They show here building the road wheels. Now, the interesting thing here is Ming just came out with a 2A6 model, and it has this colored road wheels. They have the regular styrene, and they have rubber on the outside. This kit does not have that, but these pictures depict that, so that was kind of interesting. You have your drive sprocket, as I said, your return road wheel, your main road wheels, the building process, and then from there you go into starting the lower hull. You have the extra armor plating they've added here, and there's some holes to drill and some different modifications for the mounting process of that, but that shows you there. From there you're going into all the suspension system. One thing to remember here is they do have the newer version of the return sprocket tensioner, which is a hydraulic system. It's not the old manual crank wrench system. So they have that here, and it looks like it does pistons, so that's kind of a neat feature that RAM or Rifle did. It looks like they've done a similar thing here. You continue on building the different components. What's interesting is then they flip over to doing the back of the tank. You're doing that here, then you jump back into doing the suspension system, which is kind of a different procedure, not really seen it that way, but this kit does have where you can do adjustable suspension. So they've got the leaf spring system here. It's the twist type spring that goes through. So you're going to have to watch to make sure when you put it together that you don't make these too low, because oftentimes the tank ends up sitting too low and it's not accurate. There's quite a bit of rise between the top of the road wheel to the bottom part of the side skirts. So you have to really make sure that you put enough tension on them so that they sit properly and square. Then you start putting in all the road wheels. I like how Meng has the little uh, piece of plastic that you put inside, so these can be removable. That feature there. Then you go into adding these um, upgraded components they did during a retrofitting. Now, one of the things to remember is the prototype has this because it's a retrofit older lower hull. The new 2A8s will be all new lower hull. They will not have this. So if you're planning on doing the prototype, you will do this feature. If you're doing a production version, it will not have this. It is a new hull, and they didn't have this added stability that they added later on because they were finding this was starting to crack here from the weight of the engine over time. That's something to remember. Then you do the tracks. It has a complete link track system that is really nice. It shows here the tensioner, kind of how you have to make this nice and snug. You kind of get a good picture here of the hydraulic system versus the standard crank system that you would manually go in there and adjust it with. And you go into the upper hull, adding different components and plating. You've got your engine deck here. You've got the rear plate here. These covers, your headlight system with the guards, the front fender skirting, the driver's hatch system. Going through the storage box. This is what I was talking about. On the German version, this will not be a storage box. This will be a Spectus 2 system sitting here. You'll have your cameras, all the different features within that here. When you get down to this part, you have your tensioner here. Now, this is a new production tank. This won't be here because this is for the unupgraded tensioners, which were a manual system where they would stick this in like a wrench and then move it, back and forth like this to tighten or loosen the track tension. It does have a real neat PE sheet here around the intake system, so you've got a nice little grill. That's really nice. Dropping in here, you have your Pioneer equipment. You have part of the lifting device for the engine deck. You have your siphon line here. Then you start gluing these together. Dropping back into here, this is a neat feature that Meng does, is they have this two-part system. So you've got to make sure you do the alignment properly on this, but this system goes straight up and down and back and forth and then crisscrosses. So you have to glue one PE sheet down, then you glue the grill down on top of that, making sure you don't overlap the glue and fill all these holes, and that looks really atrocious. Adding your Spectus system back here. There is an antenna that sits off of this. They don't have that here, so that's something you'd want to add on later. Going to the tow cables. Now, the prototype had crisscrossed cables in the back, where the German version, for example, and all the new production versions, everything I've read and seen, will have the looped, where there's a catch here on either side. So the right side stays on the right side and the left side stays on the left side. There's also a little catch down here to keep this from coming off when they're maneuvering around. That's not there, but it's still a real nice design and setup. Here you have your side skirting, some substantial plates here. You've got your supplemental armor system here, which is something they did in the 207. You've got your generator here. All that's done really nice. Here's the part that the pictures don't show, but this is where the hydraulic tank hangs when they're doing the tensioner. So they've got the proper one here, but then they throw that rod on the back for tensioning, so that's an error on their system. But this is correct in how it sits here, and that shows it's a hydraulic tensioner system. And what they do is they hang that hydraulic pump on the side when they go to tighten it, and they put the two lines on the tensioner, and then they have a rod that they pump it to, move it back and forth accordingly for the proper tension. Another thing they have here is they have a little shiny mirror here you put on your rearview mirrors. This is the building process. They have, it looks like, two different versions. You can either have an upright, erect rear view mirror, or you can have them folded, depending on which way you want to go. Here you're either putting which one you want on one or the other, and putting the armor plating on the front, and then you're pretty much done with the lower hull. Then you jump into the turret. First thing they have you doing is building the main gun. Now what's interesting is the older Meng Leopard kits all had a metal barrel or a plastic barrel. This kit only has a metal barrel, but they did upgrade the vent system here. This is a fiberglass thing, and I'll show you that shortly when we look at the actual parts. Here, getting into putting the turret together after you've done the gun, gluing it in, gluing all these parts in. Then you start adding all the different components on the tank itself. Getting to your additional armor system, they have your equipment bags. One side has tools, the other side has parts for fording, depending on which side this is. You have your scope systems, your commander's protective window here that sits in front so that they can look from unbuttoned and down and not have to worry so much about debris and or rounds hitting them, because this is a thick armored glass that can stop a pretty significant amount of ammunition. Going into your white phosphorus smoke launchers here on either side, the building process, the steps. You've got your, this is for wires so that when they're unbuttoned and they cross over a power line or something that's down there, it's not going to catch, or the sabotage where they've laid wire across to catch the crew and decapitate or injure them. That's a rod. You'll see that in a lot of countries. Germany doesn't do that, but that's here on this tank, and that's something the prototype actually had. You have your gunner's sighting system here, the glass, the lens process, everything, the hatches, depending on if you want it open or closed. If you want it open, you have to cut it. If you want it closed, you just glue it in as so. Your personal weapons here, they put two firearms in there, and then they also have bags on top here and here. This doesn't have that. The prototype didn't, but Germany, all their tanks now have that feature, so that would be something that you would need for a German version. Going in here, you have, if you're doing the German version as they have you doing it, you have a couple different hatch systems here. You've got your driver's hatch, your commander's hatch. You have a device in the back here for the commander's computer system to be mounted. If they're road marching, the turn's usually reversed, and they put it here so that they can look through it, or it sits on a mount up in front. You'll do later. This is your MG machine gun. You can either do with or without a stock. That would be something that the Germans would have for anti-aircraft, but if you have your RWS on the roof, you're not going to need that or have that. So this is showing if you're doing an A or a B. If you're doing this, you're going to do this. If you're doing this, you're not going to do this. Your commander's sight here for observing and seeing things. Then you drop into your air conditioner, your storage box, and other parts on the back you're building here. They have quite a detailed air conditioner that sits on the back. You have your the venting system here for your chemical weapons and things like that. So you've got an overpressure valve that sits there. A lot of PE sheets and nice detail on this part, so it really gives it some depth. Your antenna mounting system, and then your snow grouts that sit on the back here. Here you're building the two baskets that sit on either side. They've got PE sheets for all these parts, so it's really, really detailed. The nice thing is this is almost completely one piece of plastic or styrene, so you don't have to assemble it and worry about getting it wrong and then none of this fits. So they did that right. I like how they did that. Then you drop into your Euro Trophy system you're building here, the right and the left units, and the protective screening that sits on either side to protect the crew when the system goes off. The launcher, the reloader system here, and then you've got your camera system that sits down here. Here you're adding it all, putting it all on. One of the things they don't have here on this vehicle in any form, which Germany would have, would be flag holders for when they're going to the range. They always have 2 flag holders that sit right here so that they can put those on so that when they're buttoned up, they either have the red or the green showing the status of the tank, loaded, ready to fire, unloaded, safe, and all those types of features. Because this is the second version of this tank, you have this supplemental armor that they added here. I don't know for one reason or another why they did it, but I would suspect it's due to all the conflicts in Ukraine and what they've learned and how they've upgraded this for better protection from the vulnerabilities in this area, because this is added supplemental armor. Here you're building the RWS system. Now there's 2 different RWSs that they've put on this. This second version of this tank had this one, which the ammo was on, sits like this on the side. Very nicely done. All this is really good detail. You assemble it this way, you put the turret on, and you are almost done. Here's a list of all the spruce sheets. And then you go into the painting. Now, this is one version of the prototype. Another version of the prototype it has a 2 pattern camo on it, which is a really neat one. Everything I've read says that's the that's not the prototype, but the production version. I don't know for a fact one way or the other, but that is the other version. And then here they have what I would say is a fantasy Bundeswehr version. Germany did order over 100 of these tanks. Everything I've read, this is not going to be the setup of them. It's close, but it's not 100% correct. It hasn't even been put out there yet, so who knows how the camo pattern will look like, if it's like this or something else. This is similar, but I can see some of the things that Germany probably wouldn't do just in the way this pattern is. But at the same time, it may be 100% accurate. We don't know yet. Either way, if you wanted to do this, like I said, would be what I would call a fantasy version. You can. And that's the instructions. Okay, this is spruce sheet A. You have a couple of these. You have your road wheels and your caps and your return road wheel. Inside you've got your nuts. You have the plate that sits behind there. You can see that. Then on the back side of these you've got the hole for the little plastic grommet that goes inside there so that you can pop them on and off. Pretty simple, a nice rubber track on the outside. The frame is nice the way they did it. You do have a nice rise here like it really has. Makes for a nice finished product. They do not have any of the labeling that sits inside of here that the real ones have. I've seen that on some other models. It's a nice add-on. Not really visible, but it's a nice feature. Doesn't take much extra, but it's not here, unfortunately. This is spruce sheet B. You've got your side skirts, top plates, your part of your engine system here. This is a slide mold of your returns, road wheels, track tensioner system there. Here's the rods for it. You can see the end caps. You've got some armor plating, your Spectus system on the back, your fenders. This has really good detail in here. The grill's nice, well done. You've got your non-skid steps here, which is nice. Looks pretty sharp. Everything is clean. There's no over flashing. You don't have any injection mold where it's squirted out. Anything else? The other neat thing is when you look at the rear fenders, you have the rubber here is actually bent and has a more accurate look than being a flat straight thing. They took the time to do that so you don't have to modify them or tweak them.
That's a neat feature I've never seen on anybody else's kit, so that's new. Very, very impressed with that feature. This is sprue sheet C. Here you can see this is a jig for putting on those Spalding extra parts they added for stability on the retrofit and serviced older Leopard lower hull frames. Here's your additional armor plating that goes underneath the tank. Here's your convoy placarding, the engine deck. You do have some nice non-skid. It's not too raised up, which is nice. You can feel it, you can see it, but it's not overly done. It's on the real tanks. It's just basically a sticker that's placed there for non-skid material. So that's what they have here. It's really well done. The only criticism I would have is this is too thick. They're probably 20% bigger than they need to be. That's too thick here. That isn't that thick on the real tank. When you look at, for example, a RFM kit, Ryefield models, you kind of get an idea here how much thinner it is, and so when you compare the two, the difference really does jump out, even though it's hard to kind of see in the other kit. You can see here the difference in the thickness. But other than that, everything else looks really good on it. All the other Meng kits I've ever had have had the same issue. It's just too thick. It looks out of scale.
This is sprue sheet D. This has some really neat features. Here's the bottom part of the turret. You've got your personal sidearms rack here. It has the non-skid all over that, which is really nice. You have the barrel here, which is a one solid piece, so you don't have to worry about gluing it and getting it into alignment. Here's your rear view mirror, either up or down mounts. Your grab irons that go on the turret, your front end of the turret with your sighting system here, some different handles and catches, different panels, things like that. This is part of the air conditioner system. The neat thing that they've done here, which most kits don't do, and it is a big failure and you have to modify it, is they added the fiberglass texture here on the venting system for the main gun. I'll try and get some kind of a picture here. You kind of can pick it up there, the texture, but it's really sharp. I'm very impressed with what they did there. Here's try and do like this. And it's not really going to show, but it's really nice how they did that. So that's a neat feature they added. This is sprue sheet E. You can see different parts of the turret, lots of different details. Your tow cables here. This little thing here is where the beacon mounts to, that sits on the turret. Your simulator here. This is all part of your turret and side skirts, the baskets, things like that. Once again, you've got real good detail on all this. The textures are real accurate. This is real thin on these edges, which is accurate. Your ring that sits around the commander is also thin and looks accurate to scale. Really sharp how they did that here. Here's your sighting system. What they don't have, and I haven't seen anywhere, is the little parts that sit on the side here. That's not there, so that's one part that they didn't do. But other than that, it's really good looking. This is sprue sheet F. You're going to see you have all your axles here with your spring that goes across here, your drive sprocket, this is your air conditioning system, your shocks and different components of that are all here. Some spare tracks here, snow grout, and then your vent here for your the air conditioner system and the generator that sit on the hull part. Your turn signal blinkers are here, and then this is more parts that go on this because they supplemented these on the newer Leopard versions. This is Sprue Sheet G. You can see your simulator here, more parts. You've got your MGs. These are absolutely superb castings, injection molds. This is for the older Leopard 2A7 model. That's the Sprue sheet is actually from, because you've got your basket jig here for the PE sheet that sits over. You don't have that PE sheet, but you do use a lot of these other parts. This is the tensioner I was talking about. This isn't on the tank. There is a rod back there, but it doesn't look like this. This part here was what goes into the big nut that sits on the back of the tensioner, and they would crank it to tighten down the tracks. Well, since it's a hydraulic system, they don't have this, so it is not on the tank. If you're doing the new hull version or one that's been retrofit, this won't be there. And everything that I've read is that although some of the prototypes were an older 2A tank that had the older style like this, the new ones will not have this. So if you're doing a new one, this is something you do not use. Just so you're aware, these are the tool baskets that hit on the, there's tools in here, and then there's parts on one basket that are for the fording system, and then the other has tools in it. This is all part of your air conditioner system. Really good looking injection mold there, along with all the smoke launchers. Are really sharp. They're round. They don't have flashing edges. There's not a lot of cleanup. Really crisp. Good quality there. Really sharp. Here's part of your system for the commander. This is the screen he has, and this is the mounting system. You can either put the screen on or off, but you will have this mount, and this can either go inside the tank, it can sit on the turret on the mount that sits on the back side of the commander's turret, or it sits in this mount depending on which version you're doing. This is Sprue Sheet H. Now this is a completely new sprue sheet just for this model. You can see you have all the trophy system, the camera systems, the armor plating, your baskets, your headlight guards. You have your headlights, your mounting system for the headlights. This is some of the plating for the camera system, the extra step for the commander, and then these, although I didn't see on the model where they go, look a lot like the mounts for the flaps, although I don't believe they are, but they look similar. Here you have your horn, your covers or protective rings for the turn signals in the front, and then this is that basket that sits in the front, which would be a Spectus 2 on a German Leopard, but on this tank it's not. Here's your antenna mounts. It does have the newer style. This is accurate, this rod, and then you actually stick the metal or fiberglass part that goes inside here. For the tank, they can take it off and swap it out, but this is the mount that stays on the tank. Really well done. This is Sprue Sheet J. This is more of the Spectus. You have your RWS mount here, or you have your standard blow-off plating here for a regular Leopard. Then you have your Spectus, or I'm sorry, your trophy system, the mounting for the RWS, more smoke launchers that go on the RWS system. Here's part of the trophy, the sensors that sit on the back. These are all the sensors, mounts. These are the mounts for the smoke launchers on the front of the turret. These are actually pretty interesting because this is a pretty solid piece, so you don't have to assemble a lot. See on the back the way they did that. That way it won't distort. The I'm using Hobby Kit goes together pretty good, but it's different, so this is a little more secure and solid. You'll get a better finished product with this. All this has really nice quality on it. Your protective grills here, there's a lens in there so they can see through it, but it's protecting them, the crew, if they're unbuttoned when the Spectus goes off, or the trophy goes off, I mean. This is Sprue Sheet K. It's a small sprue sheet. This is the RWS system that sits on top of the tank. You've got all the different components of it, the ammunition link, the different mounts, the sighting systems, cameras, and things like that. Really good quality. It's a pretty delicate item, and I think this depicts it really nicely. This is Sprues Sheet T. You can see your track. It comes in 3 pieces. You've got for each piece the rod system, the part the track sits with the guide, and then the bottom part of the track, the pads here. This is a really well done one. It's better than the other Meng kits I've done of the leopards. It looks like they've upgraded it. This is really thin. The gap here is accurate to scale. It looks really sharp. The overall quality is outstanding. What's neat about it is the way Meng does this is you cut this off, you pop this off. This is already in alignment. You use this jig. You set these parts in the jig on this side here. Then you line this up on the side the way this sits. It sits perfectly. And then you can glue these down. Now what you can see what they've done here different than prior ones is they just have one single hole. The nice thing about that is you don't have to glue these, although I will. You can just put just a little bit of glue right there in the center. You just snap this thing in and you'll have your tracks not get glued solid, so these will stay where it flexes, but it won't glue. So that is a much better quality design than prior kits. I like that. Okay, a couple things here. This is Sprues Sheet X. This is a loose part that sits in the bag with the turret top. So when you're opening up, you look out for that. And then these sit in with the lower hull. These are all the little grommets that sit to keep you from being able to take off the road wheels. Now on the RWS for the 50 caliber, you have a couple different barrel versions here. You have your ammunition link, you have your ammunition boxes here, the cocking lever here, the top that sits on top of this, and then this is just an absolutely beautiful piece. The holes here are amazing, so you can slide the barrel inside there. Very nice the way they did this. It's outstanding. So this is the top of the turret. This is a new print. It says on the top 2025 and this kit number. Sometimes you'll see they use other ones. You've got your blow-off hatch for the ammunition here. You got the 2 different tops you can put on. You have this mounting bracket here, which you see on the new basket mounting system. And then this is where the trophy mounts in, the front plates. This has really nice non-skid. You've got this protective grill here, which is for the scope that sits up on top of the barrel. That is another non-German item. They're not going to have that on this tank, but this has it. They have not put the logo or anything here that sits on a regular Leopard turret, but they do have the non-skid correct right here in front of these scopes for the periscopes. And then also up here you've got your different sensors, your system here, your mounts for the ring that can pick the turret up. Here's the sighting system. This is where the personal sidearms go. This is not out of scale. It's done really nice. These plating here that sits up on top. All these angles are really done properly. They look real sharp. The back of the turret where you have a storage basket and the air conditioning unit are here. And then the other side of this turret. There's the top of the lower hull. You can see all the non-skid plating up here on this area. You can see it here. All this area here is non-skid plating, really well done. You've got your refueling hatches here. This lower part air conditioning system. You've got your generator here. The handles, everything that's on it. This is the box that holds the Pioneer gear. This is something, as I said, the regular Leopards, the German versions. This is an open area. They have Pioneer tools here. They've got the track system here to pull the tracks back on and do their repairs. You have your upgraded armor hangers here if they do the upgraded armor system, which is a thicker armor. Then you have your different toolboxes here. Here's your generator system. and different components. This is a little venting system, so obviously you have to add a part on there with the grill here. Really well done. Here's the lower hull. This is an older kit. It says 2015 here, but it says TS057, which is the new model. But it's the older version. It would be for the original Leopard 2A7. As I said, they did not add those Spaldings there here, so if you want to add those, you can, or you can leave them off. You do have your 4 bolt points here for the engine mounts. Then you have your drains here, your escape hatch. The way this is, everything's nice. You do have to drill holes in this. You can see the markers here for the extra armor plating. They also have the extra armor done in here, which is nice, and then your different mounting points for all the different return sprockets and then shocks and things like that. This is also neat how they did these holes. They've never done an open kit, but if they did this, if you didn't put this in, you would want this open and have all those bolt points, because there's quite a few bolts that hold this on. The other thing that's neat about this kit that nobody else does is there is a rise here, and they have done that accurately for the return the drive sprocket, so that it doesn't build up dirt and crud in there and fail. So they did that really sharp. Here's your PE sheet. You have the vents here. This is part of the intake system. This is your AC system. Here's your baskets here. All this is really well done, very thin brass, but it definitely gives a good look when it's finished and all. The grill is really fine, definitely worth the look. It also, the way Meng does their PE sheets is it's pretty flexible and forgiving, so you don't have to worry about breaking anything here as hard. It cuts nice and it cleans up really nice. Here you're going to have another PE sheet. This is part of your air conditioner system. This is these little protective grills that sit in front of the smoke launchers on the newer version of this tank. It's neat how they did them with PE, so it'll look real accurate. And then here is your tow cable. You will have to undo this. What I always recommend is when you undo this, look at how the thread turns and then turn it some more to kind of straighten it out, because it doesn't get all wrinkled and cruddy looking. It's a pretty straight, stiff system, so you can fix it easily by just, once you get it out, just gently turn it and kind of pull your finger downward as you do it, and it cleans up nice and looks really nice once finished. So here's Sprues sheet S, which is your clear plastic. This is really, really well done. I like how they have this set up. All these parts are real clear, and you don't see bubbles inside these thicker parts. It doesn't warp out or flatten. They did a really, really sharp job. The other neat thing that they did, all the other plastic parts were put in your tied things that you have to tear open, where this one's put inside of a bag that actually has a self-stickingness, so you can keep it in here to protect it as you're building and doing your parts, whatever, and not worry about destroying your finished product. It opens up nice, then you can just lay it back in there and then close it up, and it stays protected, so that's really sharp. The other part here is the decal. It's pretty straightforward. You have these for the back reflective on the rear view fenders. Then you have your 2 iron crosses. The iron crosses are absolutely spectacular. They're to scale, they're sharp, they're clean, really well done. But they have the same reflective plating with the red and white striping on the front fenders on a big plate, and they don't have that just for the rear. So it's a nice thought, but they kind of didn't finish the whole thing here. And then this is a neat feature for the rear view mirrors. You have these little mirrors that you can put on there. That comes out really, really nice once it's finished, unless you use some of the newer chrome products, which you can get a similar effect. But this gives you definitely a really nice review mirror.
Okay, well that's the kit. I hope everyone liked it. I'm looking forward to building it. I'm going to get started here shortly. I do have another build I'm going to do first, which is going to take a little bit more time. I'll probably end up doing both at the same time because while one's drying, I got to wait the other one. The other kit, though, I will say a little teaser on it. I am doing a video on it. It's not German. It is modern. It's French, and the base platform model's by Tiger. So anybody who's into the French models probably already figured it out. But that's coming out shortly also. I'm getting ready to start that kit here actually tomorrow. So look forward to seeing that video. Anyway, like and subscribe. Hit the bells, buttons, and all those different things you're supposed to do in YouTube. Get me on Facebook. Questions and comments, as I said, are always welcome. Please. I love the positives, but if I'm not doing something right or if I'm missing a point, let me know so I can just be better at what I'm doing here. Once again, everyone take care. Happy modeling. More videos coming out real shortly. One of those videos is sitting over my shoulder, and that's Neverland's wolf model. And I just got that also. So I've got that, and I've got a bunch of really cool resin upgrades from Mad Model Bow that I'll be showing with it. So anyone, take care. Happy modeling, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.